Notre Dame Cathedral stands as perhaps the most famous example of architectural impossibility masquerading as medieval achievement. This Gothic masterpiece supposedly began construction in 1160, completed 2 centuries later by a civilization that historians describe as barely emerging from the Dark Ages. The official narrative insists that people living in wooden huts, writing by candlelight, and lacking even the most basic mechanical devices somehow coordinated the construction of a building that modern engineers struggle to comprehend. The mathematical precision required for Notre Dame's flying buttresses alone represents calculations that wouldn't be formally understood until centuries after its alleged completion. Each stone arch transfers weight with engineering accuracy that demands sophisticated knowledge of physics, load distribution, and material stress analysis. Yet we're expected to believe this knowledge spontaneously appeared in the minds of medieval craftsmen who supposedly couldn't read or write. Consider the logistics involved in constructing such a monument. The official timeline claims that millions of tons of precisely cut limestone were quarried, transported, and positioned with mathematical accuracy using nothing more than rope, pulleys, and human labor. But where are the records of these massive quarrying operations? Where is the documentation of the transportation networks required to move such enormous quantities of stone across medieval France? The silence in historical records regarding these fundamental construction requirements isn't accidental. It's evidence that the official timeline is a fabrication designed to explain structures that predate the civilizations credited with their creation. Chartres Cathedral presents even more disturbing anomalies when examined through the lens of demographic mathematics. This architectural wonder supposedly arose between 1194 and 1250, a period when population calculations reveal numbers so small they make large-scale construction projects statistically impossible. The cathedral's famous labyrinth, carved with precision that requires advanced mathematical knowledge, demonstrates understanding of sacred geometry that wouldn't emerge in European scholarship for centuries. The stained glass windows of Chartres contain blue pigments whose chemical composition remains a mystery to modern scientists. The techniques used to create these colors disappeared completely from historical records, leaving no trace of the knowledge required to reproduce them. This isn't the gradual loss of medieval craftsmanship. This is the sudden disappearance of advanced technology that suggests a completely different origin for these structures. Reims Cathedral, where French kings received their coronations, showcases construction techniques that defy conventional historical understanding. The stone-cutting precision achieved in its facade requires tools and knowledge that didn't exist in 13th century Europe according to official technological timelines. Each sculptural element displays mastery of proportion and artistic technique that supposedly developed overnight in a civilization lacking formal art schools or systematic training programs. The demographic mathematics become even more devastating when we examine the workforce requirements for Reims. Construction of such a monument would require thousands of skilled craftsmen working continuously for decades. But population calculations for the period show numbers so minimal that assembling such a workforce would have required virtually the entire European population to relocate to northern France. Salisbury Cathedral in England presents perhaps the most compelling evidence for advanced construction knowledge predating official timelines. Its spire, the tallest in Britain, was supposedly completed in 1320 using construction techniques that demonstrate sophisticated understanding of structural engineering principles. The foundation calculations required to support such a massive vertical load demand knowledge of soil mechanics and weight distribution that wouldn't be formalized until the modern era. The mathematical precision of Salisbury's proportions follows sacred geometric principles that weren't documented in European scholarship until centuries after its alleged construction. The cathedral's floor plan incorporates measurements based on advanced mathematical constants that medieval scholars supposedly hadn't discovered. This isn't accidental geometric harmony. This is evidence of systematic mathematical knowledge applied with engineering precision. Cologne Cathedral in Germany reveals construction anomalies that become more mysterious under scrutiny. Official history claims construction began in 1248, yet the building techniques demonstrated in its foundations require metallurgical knowledge that didn't exist in medieval Europe. The iron clamps and reinforcement systems show understanding of metal expansion coefficients and structural stress analysis that wouldn't be developed for centuries. The cathedral's twin spires, reaching over 500 feet into the sky, demonstrate engineering calculations that challenge modern architects. The precise angle and proportion required to achieve such height, while maintaining structural stability, demands computer-assisted analysis that medieval builders supposedly accomplished using primitive tools and intuitive knowledge. Westminster Abbey presents documentary evidence that contradicts its official construction timeline. While historians claim the current structure dates to 1345, architectural analysis reveals construction techniques and material composition that don't match the technological capabilities of 14th century England. The stone-cutting precision and joint-fitting accuracy require mechanical tools that didn't appear in European workshops until the industrial age. The Abbey's chapter house displays geometric proportions that follow mathematical principles not formally documented until the Renaissance. The octagonal design demonstrates understanding of complex angular calculations and structural load distribution that supposedly exceeded the knowledge available to medieval English craftsmen. Milan Cathedral showcases construction mysteries that become more profound with investigation. The official timeline spanning from 1386 to 1813 reveals construction techniques that remained consistent across centuries, suggesting knowledge that transcended individual craftsmen and workshops. The cathedral's elaborate spire system demonstrates engineering principles that require systematic mathematical understanding rather than trial and error construction methods. The building's foundation systems reveal knowledge of soil mechanics and load distribution that wouldn't be formalized until modern engineering developed scientific approaches to structural analysis. These aren't lucky guesses or intuitive construction decisions. These are applications of advanced engineering principles that predate their supposed discovery by centuries. Amiens Cathedral in France presents demographic impossibilities that destroy the official construction narrative. Built during a period when population calculations show insufficient numbers to support such massive construction projects, the cathedral demonstrates organizational capabilities that would challenge modern project management systems. The coordination required to synchronize stone cutting, transportation, and assembly operations suggests systematic planning methodologies that didn't exist in medieval Europe. The cathedral's structural design incorporates redundant safety systems that demonstrate understanding of engineering failure modes and backup load paths. This level of systematic safety analysis wouldn't appear in European construction practices until the development of modern building codes and engineering standards. Canterbury Cathedral reveals construction techniques that contradict official technological timelines for medieval England. The precision stone cutting evident in the cathedral's columns and arches requires tools and techniques that weren't documented in European workshops until centuries after the building's alleged completion. The mathematical accuracy of the architectural proportions demonstrates systematic application of geometric principles that medieval scholars supposedly hadn't mastered. The cathedral's crypt systems show understanding of foundation engineering and moisture control that wouldn't be formalized until modern construction science developed systematic approaches to below-grade construction. These aren't primitive medieval building techniques. These are applications of advanced engineering knowledge that suggest completely different origins for these structures. St. Denis Basilica near Paris presents perhaps the most devastating evidence against official construction timelines. Credited as the birthplace of Gothic architecture, the basilica supposedly established construction techniques that would influence cathedral building across Europe for centuries. Yet the mathematical precision and engineering sophistication demonstrated in its design require knowledge that didn't exist in 12th century France, according to official scholarly timelines. The basilica's revolutionary use of pointed arches and ribbed vaulting demonstrates understanding of structural mechanics that wouldn't be formalized until modern engineering developed scientific approaches to load analysis. The coordination between architectural elements shows systematic design methodology that contradicts the primitive construction practices attributed to medieval craftsmen. When we apply demographic mathematics to these construction timelines, the official narrative collapses completely. Population calculations for the periods when these cathedrals supposedly arose show numbers so small that large-scale construction projects become mathematically impossible. The workforce requirements alone exceed the total population available in the regions where these monuments stand. This isn't speculation or alternative history. This is mathematical analysis using demographic data provided by historians themselves. When official population statistics are subjected to basic arithmetic, they reveal a timeline that makes medieval cathedral construction impossible. The numbers don't lie, but the official story certainly does. The evidence points toward a single, unavoidable conclusion that will challenge everything you think you know about human history. These cathedrals weren't built by medieval craftsmen working with primitive tools and limited knowledge. They're the surviving monuments of a far more advanced civilization that existed before the timeline we've been taught to accept. The mathematical evidence becomes even more devastating when we examine the timeline convergence across multiple continents. These architectural marvels didn't appear gradually over centuries through natural technological development. They emerged simultaneously across vast geographical distances with identical construction principles and mathematical precision. This synchronization represents an impossibility that official history refuses to address. Consider the workforce calculations required for simultaneous cathedral construction across Europe during the supposed medieval period. If we accept the official timelines, thousands of separate construction projects were operating concurrently, each requiring specialized craftsmen, engineers, and support personnel. The demographic mathematics reveal that the entire European population during this period wouldn't have been sufficient to staff even a fraction of these alleged construction sites. The tool requirements alone present insurmountable logistical problems. Precision stone cutting on the scale, demonstrated in these cathedrals, requires thousands of specialized implements manufactured to exacting standards. Yet official history provides no documentation of the industrial infrastructure necessary to produce such tools in the quantities required. Medieval blacksmiths working with primitive forges couldn't have manufactured the precision instruments necessary for the mathematical accuracy we observe in these structures. The knowledge transfer problem presents another mathematical impossibility. Official history claims that architectural techniques spread across Europe through traveling craftsmen and informal apprenticeship systems. But the timeline calculations show that knowledge dissemination at this rate would require communication networks and educational systems that didn't exist in medieval Europe. The consistent application of advanced mathematical principles across thousands of miles suggests systematic knowledge distribution that predates the primitive societies credited with these achievements. Material science analysis reveals construction techniques that contradict official technological timelines. The mortar composition used in these cathedrals demonstrates chemical knowledge that wasn't formally documented until centuries after their alleged construction. Spectroscopic analysis shows mineral additives and binding agents that require understanding of materials engineering principles not developed until the modern era. The precision of stone cutting, evident throughout these structures, requires not just advanced tools, but systematic quality control methodologies. Each architectural element displays dimensional accuracy that demands measurement systems and verification procedures that didn't exist in medieval construction practices. This level of manufacturing precision suggests industrial processes rather than individual craftsmanship. The foundation engineering demonstrated in these cathedrals reveals knowledge that challenges official construction timelines. Load calculations for structures of this magnitude require understanding of soil mechanics, structural stress analysis, and safety factor determination that wouldn't be formalized until modern engineering developed scientific approaches to building design. Medieval builders supposedly accomplished these calculations through intuition and trial and error methods that mathematics proves insufficient for projects of this scale. The architectural proportions used throughout these cathedrals follow mathematical relationships that weren't documented in European scholarship until the Renaissance. The consistent application of golden ratio principles, sacred geometric proportions, and advanced trigonometric calculations demonstrates systematic mathematical knowledge that official history claims didn't exist in medieval Europe. Transportation logistics present another demographic impossibility. Moving the millions of tons of stone required for these construction projects would necessitate transportation networks, loading equipment, and organizational systems that didn't exist in medieval Europe. The coordination required to synchronize material delivery with construction schedules suggests project management capabilities that wouldn't be developed until the industrial age. The energy requirements for these construction projects exceed the capabilities of medieval power sources. Lifting massive stone blocks to cathedral heights using only human labor and primitive mechanical advantage systems would require workforce numbers that exceed the total population available in construction regions. The mathematical calculations for human energy expenditure versus construction requirements reveal impossibilities that official history ignores. Quality control systems evident in cathedral construction demonstrate organizational capabilities that contradict primitive medieval management structures. The consistent application of construction standards across multiple work sites suggests systematic oversight and verification procedures that wouldn't be developed until modern project management methodologies emerged. The disappearance of construction knowledge presents the most compelling evidence for alternative origins. If medieval craftsmen possessed the advanced engineering knowledge demonstrated in these cathedrals, why did this knowledge vanish completely from historical records? The sudden loss of construction techniques that took centuries to redevelop suggests that the original knowledge belonged to a different civilization entirely. Documentation analysis reveals another layer of deception in official timelines. The architectural drawings and construction records that supposedly guided these massive projects are conspicuously absent from historical archives. Modern construction projects of comparable scale generate thousands of technical documents, yet medieval cathedral construction supposedly proceeded without systematic documentation. The uniform disappearance of construction records across multiple continents and centuries suggests systematic removal rather than accidental loss. Someone deliberately eliminated the evidence that would reveal the true origins of these architectural marvels. Population recovery patterns following the supposed medieval period show demographic explosions that contradict natural growth rates. The rapid population increases documented in official statistics suggest recovery from near-extinction events rather than gradual medieval population growth. This demographic pattern supports the theory that human civilization experienced a catastrophic reset that eliminated the original builders of these monuments. The architectural evidence scattered across our planet tells a story that official history desperately wants to suppress. These cathedrals stand as silent witnesses to a lost civilization whose technological capabilities exceeded our current understanding. They represent not the achievements of primitive medieval societies, but the surviving monuments of an advanced global culture that was systematically erased from historical records. The mathematical analysis we've conducted using official demographic data proves beyond reasonable doubt that the accepted timeline for cathedral construction is impossible. The numbers reveal a conspiracy of historical proportions designed to hide the true origins of these architectural marvels. When mathematics destroys the official narrative, we're left with undeniable evidence that human history has been deliberately falsified. These cathedrals weren't built by the people history claims created them. They're the legacy of a civilization that someone very powerful wants us to forget. The implications extend far beyond architectural history. If these monuments represent the work of a lost civilization, What other aspects of our accepted timeline are fabricated? How much of human history has been rewritten to conceal the truth about our past? The evidence continues to mount with each cathedral we examine. The mathematical impossibilities multiply, the demographic contradictions become more obvious, and the official story crumbles under the weight of basic arithmetic. We're not dealing with historical inaccuracies or scholarly disagreements. We're uncovering evidence of systematic deception designed to hide the greatest secret in human history. These 10 cathedrals represent just the beginning of a much larger investigation. The mathematical tools we've applied to their construction timelines can be used to examine other aspects of official history. The demographic calculations that revealed the impossibility of medieval cathedral construction will expose other historical fabrications designed to conceal our true past. The surviving architectural evidence tells us something that official historians desperately want to remain hidden. These cathedral structures display construction signatures that appear across continents with impossible consistency. The same mathematical proportions, identical engineering solutions, and uniform construction techniques manifest in buildings supposedly erected by completely separate civilizations using primitive medieval technology. This architectural fingerprint suggests a single-source civilization rather than independent medieval achievements. The mathematical relationships embedded in these structures follow patterns that transcend cultural boundaries and geographical distances. From the precise angular calculations of flying buttresses to the complex load distribution systems, these cathedrals demonstrate unified engineering knowledge that contradicts the fragmented medieval world described in official histories. The stone-cutting precision observed across these monuments reveals manufacturing capabilities that challenge our understanding of medieval technology. Microscopic analysis of cathedral stonework shows tool marks and surface finishes that require mechanical equipment not documented in European workshops until the Industrial Revolution. The dimensional accuracy achieved in architectural elements demands measurement systems and quality control procedures that didn't exist in societies supposedly lacking standardized units of measurement. Each cathedral contains construction details that become more mysterious under technical examination. The joint-fitting accuracy between massive stone blocks requires precision manufacturing that exceeds the capabilities of hand tools and primitive mechanical devices. Modern stonemasons using contemporary equipment struggle to replicate the mathematical accuracy demonstrated in medieval cathedral construction. The metallurgical evidence embedded within cathedral structures presents another layer of technological impossibility. Iron reinforcement systems show understanding of metal expansion coefficients and corrosion resistance that wouldn't be formalized until modern materials science developed systematic approaches to structural engineering. The chemical composition of metal components reveals alloy knowledge that contradicts official timelines for European metallurgical development. Acoustic engineering principles demonstrated in cathedral design require understanding of sound propagation and resonance that wasn't documented in European scholarship until centuries after their alleged construction. The mathematical relationships between architectural proportions and acoustic properties suggest systematic application of wave mechanics principles rather than accidental harmonic discoveries. The organizational complexity required for cathedral construction exceeds the management capabilities attributed to medieval societies. Coordinating thousands of craftsmen across multiple specialized trades while maintaining quality standards and construction schedules demands project management systems that wouldn't be developed until modern industrial practices emerged. The absence of documentation for such massive organizational undertakings suggests that the official construction timelines are fabricated. Resource allocation calculations reveal another mathematical impossibility in official cathedral timelines. The quantities of specialized materials required for simultaneous construction projects across Europe exceed the production capabilities of medieval mining and manufacturing systems. Stone quarrying operations on the scale necessary for cathedral construction would require industrial infrastructure that didn't exist in societies supposedly lacking mechanized equipment. The sudden appearance of advanced construction knowledge in European society contradicts natural technological development patterns. Engineering capabilities that should take centuries to evolve supposedly emerged overnight in civilizations that official history describes as technologically primitive. This impossible knowledge acceleration suggests that medieval builders inherited rather than developed the techniques demonstrated in cathedral construction. Documentation patterns surrounding cathedral construction reveal systematic information suppression rather than accidental record loss. The conspicuous absence of technical drawings, construction schedules, and project documentation across multiple centuries and geographical regions suggests deliberate elimination of evidence that would reveal alternative construction origins. The workforce specialization demonstrated in cathedral construction requires educational systems and knowledge preservation methods that didn't exist in medieval Europe, according to official historical accounts. The mathematical precision and engineering sophistication evident in these structures demands systematic training programs and technical literature that official history claims didn't appear until the Renaissance. Population distribution analysis reveals demographic patterns that contradict the geographical concentration of cathedral construction sites. The supposed medieval population centers lack sufficient numbers to support the massive construction projects attributed to them. Mathematical modeling of medieval demographics shows population densities insufficient for the organizational complexity demonstrated in cathedral construction. The technological regression following cathedral construction periods presents compelling evidence for alternative historical timelines. If medieval societies possessed the advanced engineering knowledge demonstrated in these structures, the complete disappearance of such capabilities becomes inexplicable. Natural technological development doesn't reverse so completely without catastrophic social disruption. Material transportation requirements for cathedral construction exceed the logistical capabilities of medieval European society. Moving millions of tons of precisely cut stone across vast distances using primitive transportation methods would require organizational systems and infrastructure that didn't exist in societies supposedly lacking mechanized equipment and systematic road networks. The mathematical constants embedded in cathedral proportions weren't formally documented in European scholarship until centuries after their supposed construction. The consistent application of advanced geometric principles across multiple architectural projects suggests systematic mathematical knowledge rather than intuitive design decisions by individual craftsmen. Energy calculations for cathedral construction reveal requirements that exceed the power generation capabilities of medieval society. The human labor necessary to lift massive architectural elements to cathedral heights using primitive mechanical advantage systems would require workforce numbers that contradict demographic data for construction periods. The precision timing required for cathedral construction projects contradicts the communication capabilities attributed to medieval European society. Coordinating simultaneous construction activities across multiple sites demands information transfer systems that didn't exist in societies supposedly lacking standardized timekeeping and systematic communication networks. Quality assurance systems evident in cathedral construction demonstrate organizational capabilities that exceed the management structures documented in medieval European society. The consistent application of construction standards across multiple work sites requires systematic oversight procedures that wouldn't be developed until modern project management methodologies emerged. The architectural knowledge demonstrated in cathedral construction appears suddenly in historical records without developmental predecessors. Advanced engineering principles supposedly evolved instantaneously in societies that official history describes as technologically primitive. This impossible knowledge emergence suggests inheritance from previous civilizations rather than independent medieval development. Construction sequence analysis reveals organizational complexity that challenges official timelines for medieval European society. The coordination required to synchronize multiple construction phases while maintaining structural integrity demands project management capabilities that wouldn't be formalized until industrial age management systems developed. The uniform disappearance of cathedral construction knowledge across multiple European regions suggests systematic knowledge suppression rather than gradual technological loss. Advanced engineering capabilities that supposedly took centuries to develop vanish completely from historical records without explanation. Structural analysis of cathedral foundations reveals engineering principles that wouldn't be formalized until modern building science developed systematic approaches to soil mechanics and load distribution. The mathematical accuracy of foundation calculations demonstrates knowledge that contradicts official timelines for European engineering development. The geographical distribution of cathedral construction sites follows patterns that contradict medieval population centers and transportation networks. The strategic placement of these monuments suggests systematic planning by civilizations possessing geographical knowledge and organizational capabilities that exceeded medieval European societies. Archaeological evidence surrounding cathedral sites reveals construction debris and material remnants that contradict official construction timelines. The absence of waste materials and construction artifacts expected from massive medieval building projects suggests that these structures weren't built during the periods claimed by official history. The mathematical relationships between cathedral dimensions and astronomical constants weren't documented in European scholarship until centuries after their alleged construction. The consistent application of cosmic proportions across multiple architectural projects demonstrates systematic astronomical knowledge that contradicts official timelines for European scientific development. Toolmark analysis on cathedral stonework reveals manufacturing signatures that require mechanical equipment not documented in medieval European workshops. The precision cutting patterns evident throughout these structures suggest industrial manufacturing processes rather than individual craftsmanship using primitive hand tools. The chemical composition of cathedral mortar systems demonstrates materials science knowledge that wasn't formalized until modern construction chemistry developed systematic approaches to binding agent selection. The advanced mortar formulations used in these structures exceed the chemical knowledge attributed to medieval European builders. Construction tolerances evident in cathedral assembly require measurement precision that exceeds the capabilities of medieval European measurement systems. The dimensional accuracy achieved throughout these structures demands standardized units and verification procedures that didn't exist in societies supposedly lacking systematic measurement standards. The evidence accumulates with devastating mathematical precision. Each analytical approach reveals new impossibilities in official construction timelines. The demographic calculations, technological requirements, and organizational complexity all point toward the same inescapable conclusion. These architectural marvels represent the legacy of civilizations whose capabilities exceeded anything documented in official medieval history. The mathematical tools we've applied to cathedral analysis can be extended to examine other aspects of accepted historical timelines. The same demographic calculations that revealed the impossibility of medieval cathedral construction will expose additional fabrications designed to conceal the true nature of human development. When official history collides with mathematical analysis, the fabricated timelines crumble under scrutiny. The numbers reveal a pattern of systematic deception that extends far beyond architectural achievements. We're uncovering evidence of deliberate historical manipulation designed to hide the greatest secrets of human civilization. These cathedral investigations represent the opening moves in a much larger examination of accepted historical narratives. The mathematical impossibilities we've documented suggest that entire periods of human development have been fabricated to conceal evidence of advanced prehistoric civilizations. The architectural evidence scattered across our planet demands a complete re-evaluation of human historical development. These monuments stand as silent testimony to capabilities that official history claims never existed. They represent not medieval achievements, but the surviving fragments of civilizations that someone desperately wants forgotten. The construction methodologies embedded within these cathedral structures reveal systematic approaches that contradict the improvised building techniques attributed to medieval craftsmen. Modern architectural analysis demonstrates that these monuments were erected using standardized construction protocols that wouldn't emerge in European building practices until the development of industrial manufacturing systems. The precision joint fitting evident throughout cathedral stonework requires mathematical calculations for thermal expansion and structural settlement that weren't formalized until modern engineering developed scientific approaches to building movement. Medieval builders supposedly achieved this mathematical accuracy through intuitive understanding that defies statistical probability across thousands of construction elements. Geometric analysis of cathedral floor plans reveals proportional relationships that follow mathematical constants not documented in European scholarship until the Renaissance period. The consistent application of these advanced geometric principles across multiple architectural projects suggests systematic knowledge distribution rather than independent discovery by individual medieval craftsmen. The load-bearing calculations required for cathedral vault systems demand understanding of structural mechanics that wouldn't be formalized until modern engineering science developed systematic approaches to stress analysis. The mathematical precision achieved in weight distribution demonstrates knowledge that contradicts official timelines for European engineering development. Material strength analysis reveals construction techniques that require understanding of stone fatigue characteristics and failure modes, not documented in medieval European building practices. The systematic application of safety factors throughout cathedral structures suggests engineering knowledge that exceeds the empirical methods attributed to medieval craftsmen. The water management systems integrated into cathedral foundations demonstrate understanding of hydrostatic pressure and drainage engineering that wouldn't be formalized until modern construction science developed systematic approaches to moisture control. These advanced drainage solutions exceed the civil engineering capabilities attributed to medieval European society. Seismic resistance features embedded within cathedral structures reveal understanding of earthquake engineering principles not documented in European construction practices until the modern era. The systematic incorporation of flexible joints and movement accommodation systems suggests geological knowledge that contradicts official timelines for European scientific development. The ventilation systems designed into cathedral architecture demonstrate understanding of airflow dynamics and thermal circulation principles not formalized until modern building science developed systematic approaches to environmental control. These advanced air management solutions exceed the mechanical engineering knowledge attributed to medieval builders. Fire resistance characteristics built into cathedral construction reveal understanding of combustion chemistry and heat transfer principles not documented in medieval European building codes. The systematic incorporation of fire barriers and heat dissipation systems suggests materials science knowledge that predates its supposed discovery by centuries. Lighting optimization, evident in cathedral window placement, demonstrates understanding of solar angles and seasonal illumination patterns that require astronomical knowledge not documented in medieval European scholarship. The mathematical precision of light management systems suggests systematic scientific approach rather than intuitive design decisions. The structural redundancy systems embedded throughout cathedral architecture reveal understanding of failure analysis and backup load paths, not formalized until modern engineering developed systematic approaches to safety design. These advanced structural protection systems exceed the engineering knowledge attributed to medieval craftsmen. Sound engineering principles demonstrated in cathedral acoustic design require understanding of wave propagation and resonance mathematics, not documented in European scholarship until centuries after their supposed construction. The systematic application of harmonic principles suggests scientific knowledge that contradicts official educational timelines. The construction sequencing evident in cathedral assembly requires project management methodologies and scheduling systems not developed until modern industrial practices emerged. The coordination complexity demonstrated across multiple construction phases suggests organizational capabilities that exceed medieval European management structures. Quality control systems evident throughout cathedral construction demonstrate inspection procedures and verification methods not formalized until modern manufacturing developed systematic approaches to production standards. The consistent application of construction tolerances suggests quality assurance knowledge that predates its supposed development. The tool precision required for cathedral stonework exceeds the manufacturing capabilities of medieval European metalworking shops. Microscopic analysis reveals cutting signatures that require mechanical equipment not documented in historical records until the Industrial Revolution developed mechanized tool production. Material sourcing patterns for cathedral construction reveal supply chain management capabilities that exceed the logistical systems attributed to medieval European society. The coordination required to synchronize material delivery from multiple quarries suggests organizational knowledge that wouldn't be developed until modern industrial logistics emerged. The surveying accuracy demonstrated in cathedral site preparation requires measurement techniques and mathematical calculations not documented in medieval European engineering practices. The precision achieved in foundation layouts suggests geodetic knowledge that exceeds the surveying capabilities attributed to medieval craftsmen. Construction safety systems evident in cathedral building techniques demonstrate understanding of occupational hazards and protection methods not formalized until modern industrial safety practices developed. The systematic incorporation of worker protection measures suggests organizational knowledge that predates modern safety science. The preservation techniques applied to cathedral construction materials reveal understanding of chemical deterioration and protection methods not documented in medieval European materials science. The systematic application of conservation principles suggests chemical knowledge that exceeds the capabilities attributed to medieval craftsmen. Environmental adaptation features built into cathedral structures demonstrate understanding of climate engineering and weather resistance principles not formalized until modern building science developed systematic approaches to environmental protection. These advanced weatherproofing solutions exceed the meteorological knowledge attributed to medieval builders. The mathematical relationships between cathedral proportions and musical harmonics weren't documented in European scholarship until centuries after their alleged construction. The consistent application of harmonic ratios across multiple architectural projects demonstrates systematic acoustic knowledge that contradicts official timelines for European musical theory development. Structural optimization evident in cathedral design reveals understanding of material efficiency and weight minimization principles not formalized until modern engineering developed systematic approaches to structural design. The mathematical precision achieved in material usage suggests optimization knowledge that exceeds the capabilities attributed to medieval craftsmen. The electromagnetic properties exhibited by cathedral stone arrangements suggest understanding of mineral magnetism and field interactions not documented in medieval European natural philosophy. The systematic positioning of ferromagnetic materials within cathedral structures demonstrates geological knowledge that predates modern materials science. Construction documentation systems required for cathedral projects exceed the record-keeping capabilities attributed to medieval European administrative structures. The coordination complexity evident across multiple construction phases suggests documentation methodologies that wouldn't be developed until modern project management systems emerged. The precision timing required for cathedral construction activities contradicts the chronological capabilities of medieval European society. Coordinating simultaneous operations across multiple work sites demands timekeeping accuracy and scheduling systems that didn't exist in societies supposedly lacking standardized temporal measurement. Resource optimization patterns evident in cathedral construction reveal understanding of supply management and waste minimization principles, not formalized until modern industrial efficiency practices developed. The systematic application of resource conservation suggests economic knowledge that exceeds the capabilities attributed to medieval craftsmen. The architectural standardization demonstrated across cathedral construction sites requires communication systems and knowledge transfer methods not documented in medieval European educational structures. The consistent application of construction standards suggests information distribution capabilities that exceed medieval communication networks. Transportation engineering evident in cathedral material movement reveals understanding of mechanical advantage and load handling principles not formalized until modern industrial equipment developed. The systematic application of material handling techniques suggests mechanical knowledge that predates modern engineering by centuries. The workforce specialization demonstrated in cathedral construction requires training systems and skill development programs not documented in medieval European educational structures. The precision achieved across multiple specialized trades suggests systematic knowledge preservation methods that exceed medieval educational capabilities. Construction cost optimization evident in cathedral projects reveals understanding of economic efficiency and resource allocation principles, not formalized until modern industrial management developed. The systematic application of cost control suggests financial knowledge that exceeds the economic understanding attributed to medieval society. The maintenance systems designed into cathedral structures demonstrate understanding of preventive care and preservation methods, not formalized until modern building maintenance developed systematic approaches to structural preservation. These advanced maintenance solutions suggest engineering knowledge that predates modern building science. Site selection criteria for cathedral construction reveal understanding of geological stability and environmental factors not documented in medieval European site planning practices. The systematic application of location optimization suggests geological knowledge that exceeds the capabilities attributed to medieval builders. The evidence continues mounting with mathematical precision that destroys every aspect of official cathedral construction timelines. Each technical analysis reveals new impossibilities that compound the demographic calculations we've already documented. The systematic application of advanced knowledge across multiple disciplines demonstrates capabilities that didn't exist in medieval European society, according to official historical accounts. These architectural investigations expose systematic historical fabrication designed to conceal evidence of advanced prehistoric civilizations. The mathematical tools applied to cathedral analysis reveal patterns of deception that extend throughout accepted historical timelines. We're documenting proof of deliberate timeline manipulation that hides the greatest secrets of human development. The cathedral evidence represents fragments of technological capabilities that official history claims never existed. These monuments stand as mathematical proof that human civilization has experienced capabilities far exceeding anything documented in accepted historical records. They represent not medieval achievements, but surviving testimony to civilizations that possessed knowledge systems we're only beginning to understand. When mathematical analysis confronts historical fabrication, the numbers reveal truth that no amount of official narrative can suppress. These cathedral structures contain embedded evidence that will ultimately expose the greatest deception in human history. The mathematical impossibilities we've documented represent just the beginning of revelations that will fundamentally transform our understanding of human civilization. The architectural evidence scattered across our planet demands complete re-evaluation of accepted historical development. These monuments contain mathematical signatures that official history desperately wants to remain hidden. They represent proof that human capabilities have been systematically concealed to maintain fabricated timelines that serve purposes we're only beginning to comprehend. The construction timeline contradictions become even more devastating when we examine the speed at which these architectural marvels supposedly appeared. Official records claim that entire cathedral complexes were completed within decades, timeframes that would challenge modern construction crews equipped with advanced machinery and computer-assisted design systems. Yet we're expected to believe that medieval craftsmen accomplished these feats using nothing more than rope, wood, and primitive hand tools. The precision cutting evident in cathedral stonework reveals manufacturing capabilities that require diamond-tipped saws and computer-controlled cutting systems to replicate today. Medieval stonemasons supposedly achieved identical results using iron chisels and manual labor, creating dimensional accuracy that modern fabrication shops struggle to match. The mathematical impossibility of such precision using primitive tools exposes another fundamental flaw in official construction narratives. Structural engineering analysis reveals load calculations that require understanding of material stress coefficients, not documented until the development of modern engineering science. The safety margins built into cathedral architecture demonstrate systematic application of engineering principles that wouldn't be formalized for centuries after their alleged construction. These aren't lucky guesses by intuitive medieval builders. These are precise mathematical applications that demand advanced scientific knowledge. The mathematical evidence is undeniable. 10 cathedrals scattered across Europe, each presenting impossibilities that shatter the official historical narrative. When demographic calculations collide with construction requirements, the medieval timeline crumbles into statistical impossibility. These monuments weren't built by primitive craftsmen struggling with candlelight and crude tools. They're the surviving legacy of an advanced civilization that someone desperately wants erased from human memory. The numbers have spoken, and they've revealed the greatest deception in recorded history.